Hello everybody, welcome to my makeup channel and to my YouTube experience in general. I'm really excited but also really nervous at the same time. I decided today that, I've been contemplating making a YouTube makeup channel for years, but today I was watching some of my favorite makeup artists here on YouTube like Manny MUA, Jaclyn Hill, Kathleen Lights, and I was like, man, I wish I had their life. I wish I could run my own makeup channel, but then it struck me. I'm like, Jess, YouTube is a free public thing. You can do that. And I was like, you know what? You're right. So today was the day and I made my first video and it's on this look right here. So if you'd like to see a tutorial on this makeup look, just keep watching. Okay, so to start, we're going to take the Too Faced Hangover RX Replenishing Face Primer. It smells like coconuts. Pretty great. So you're just going to take 2 pumps, put it right on your fingers. I washed my hand with some Germ-X, even though I just got out of the shower. You're just going to rub it in like you would any lotion until it gets a tacky feel. Not tacky to make you worried, but just enough to you know it's going to grip your foundation. Alright, speaking of foundation, next we're going to go with the Too Faced Born This Way in medium to full coverage foundation. I am in the shade Pearl. It's actually a little bit yellow on me, but I like to wear my foundations a little bit darker than, well, it's actually the same color as my neck, but for some reason my face just doesn't tan, it just gets a little red. So and with this foundation, you just need the tiniest drop of it. I guess if you really wanted to be super, super, super full coverage, then you could probably dump the whole bottle on your face, because it does not get cakey at all. But I just like to take this littlest drop, maybe about that much. Then, or at least start that much, and then I'm going to take my, it's pretty dirty, I'm sorry about that, but this is the Ulta version of the Beauty Blender. I like this a lot better because it's probably a quarter of the price of the actual Beauty Blender, and I've had this thing for 6-7 months, and it still has not fallen apart. I had the Beauty Blender, and it fell apart in 2 months, so we're going to start. And I just take this and I just make little dots all over my face just to get the coverage there where I need it. I'm just going to grab a little bit more. You could apply this foundation with a brush, but I just prefer the sponge because it's a little bit neater, just because a lot of times I'm traveling between the bathroom and my desk area where I keep all my makeup, so it's just easier for me to use a sponge. And I think brushes, when you use it with foundation, they get a little, you get little pieces of dried foundation in your fresh foundation, so I just think sponges work a lot better for this. That's it for foundation. So next we're going to go in with a little concealer. This is the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. Now, and I'm in the shade Fair Beige. Shocker, I know, the lightest shade they have. But I've seen a lot of people use this stuff on YouTube, and that's primarily why I got it. But they just lay it on. But for me, I found that the easiest way for me to apply it, and they aren't joking when they say that it doesn't crease, but you just need the smallest amount and it will cover half your head. Just a little bit in the T-zone for highlighting, and then a little in my, okay, and then we're just gonna blend that in with the same sponge. I also like to bring it on my eye a little bit just because I get really red and I have a lot of veins in my eye. Well, I don't know if I have a lot, but probably just the average amount of veins that a person has in their body, but I just like it to all look one color, nothing kills an eyeshadow look like having a bunch of veins run through it. Really get under that under eye. Okay, so that's it for our base. Looks good, looks blended in. So next we're going to set our under eye. Now, I use the Stila Illuminating Powder. It's actually a foundation compact, which is it. It's actually pretty cool. I have actually used a lot of it. I use the shade 20 watts. This is actually like replaceable. It's like magnetic. So if you like run out of your shade, you can like take it out, put a new one in. But I use this to set my under eyes. It is far from being my like all over color. It's pretty much white. But I find that it sets my under eye like perfect. So I'm gonna, and this is also the It Cosmetics buffing foundation brush, but I like to use it to set my under eye because you can like really set it into your skin and kind of push the concealer. It's probably not necessary, but it makes me feel good. So I just take this and you just pounce right under your under eye. Now don't swipe it because you can probably take off like your concealer and your foundation and everything you just did. So it's just up and down motions. And then there's like no product left on this brush, but I just kind of go over the upper part of the eye as well just to make sure everything is set in. And do the other side. Perfect. And now to set my entire face, we're going to use the Hello Flawless powder by Benefit. And I am in the shade Champagne. Looks like this. This is like the softest powder I have ever used. Like you touch it and you're like, it's like touching a pillow. So I just take my Real Techniques multitask brush. This is also a very soft brush. I just dip it in there, tap off, and just go over the rest of my face that I did not get with that first powder. Perfect. Alright, now that we've got the base down, we can start getting to the fun stuff. First, I like to bronze first, so I take my Park Avenue Princess Bronzer by Tarte, and this is, does not have the shade color on it. I'm sure it's the lightest one. I'm pretty sure when I bought it, it only had like shades light and dark, and I got the lighter one. Again, I've had it for a while, so it's almost gone. And next I'm going to take, this is the e.l.f. Professional Total Face Brush. So what I do is I just swirl it in my bronzer a little bit, tap off, and I'm just going to go right in the hollow of my cheeks. Like you don't have to make the fish face every time you do your bronzer, but now that I've been doing it every day for like 3 years straight, like I know where to put the bronzer. So you just go right here, right on the outside, and you don't want to bring it all the way in where your mouth is. You just want to do it right on the outside from your ear to about midway. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to like flip you off. But like from this part all the way to about mid between your mouth and your ear. I'm also not one for like super intense bronzers. Like for me, I just don't get very tan, so it looks kind of weird if I have like a super dark bronzer. So I just like take pretty much the lightest shade I can always find, and it gives my face a little bit more dimension, and it doesn't look so like flat one color. It looks a little more seamless. And we're even gonna do, oh yeah, I did it up by my hairline as well, just more concentrated like by the temples, and I'm just gonna do the little bit by the side of my nose, like barely tapping it in the bronzer, and just and perfect. Okay. Alright. So next, I know there's like a big feud over if you should do your foundation in your face first or do your eyes first. I've always done my face first, and I've never had an issue with it, but I don't know, just personal preference. Alright, Next, we're going to take the Tarte Amazonian Clay in Partay. I'm not even exaggerating, that's what it says. I don't know if you can like see that. But anyway, this was actually like a sample, and I've never met somebody that's finished like an entire blush. Like I'm coming close to a couple, but I've also had those like, that was like the first blush I've ever received in my entire life. But this was a sample size, and I'm probably never going to buy like the actual product because I'm never going to finish the sample. So I'm just going to take my, I don't know if it's TIGI or TG, and it's the blush brush. It looks like this. Okay, and you just swirl it in there. And you're just going to take it right on the top of the bronzer. And this blush is also like supposed to last 16 hours, and I've tested it, and I would say it lasts way longer than 16 hours, like probably closer to 20, because I have gone from working, like earlier this summer I worked in a warehouse, and it's like sweaty like all the time in there, and I wore it, and then I went out right after work, and I came home and it was still there, and I was like, that is the best sample I've ever gotten from Sephora. Okay, so next, I get another sample that I got that I'm probably never going to use up, but still really great. This is the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector the Shimmering Skin Perfector in Opal. This is a cream highlight. I know it can scare a lot of people using cream with like the heat, but I would say that this has stayed on fairly well, and it is truly a blinding highlight. It looks like this. Okay, so what I'd like to do is I just take my finger and I swirl it in there. Just get a little bit on my finger, and then I dot it right on top of the blush, like that. And what's great about this is that it's not choppy, and it doesn't look like just fingerprints on top of my face. It's like, it blends to where it's just like a nice shine, and it's a perfect base for the next highlighter that we're gonna put on. I know 2 highlighters seems a little bit excessive, because it is, but it blinds the heavens when you put 2 on. So just gonna take a little bit more on this side. Okay, then we're going to take a little bit on the Cupid's bow, a little bit on the tip of the nose, a little bit. I know some people that put like their highlighter like right there, but I've seen recently like people putting it like kind of like, I don't know if everybody like has like a flat part of their forehead, but like my forehead is like flat, and then it kind of like veers off towards the side, so I like to put it like right there at like that turning point. I don't know if that's a thing, but I think it looks good. So then next we're going to take the MAC Soft and Gentle Mineralized Skin Finish. It looks like this. This thing has been quite used and abused, but okay, not really. This thing, I know MAC products are fairly expensive, but I've had this for 2 years, and again, it was one of those products that I've used every single day, and maybe it was 40 or 50 bucks, and I've like barely put a dent in it, like barely. So I'd say it's one of those products that's worth the money. So next I'm going to take the Real Techniques angled highlighter brush. It looks like this. So then I'm just going to take it, and I'm going to swirl it in here. Again, this is how I use it every day, and there's like none missing. Tap it off, and then we're just going to go over the same. Extra shiny. I mean, not shiny like you look like the Tin Man, but like shiny like you've got like that summer glow, like fresh out of the pool, but still like glowing goddess. So we're just going to take the highlighter and go over all the spots we just went over with the cream highlighter. Okay, perfect. Alright. So that completes us for the face. So we are all done with that. So now we're going to move on to the eyes. So next I'm going to take the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion in Original. Looks like this. And I'm going to take a little bit of it, and it comes out in like a skin color consistency, but it goes on clear. So that's why I like to put the concealer on first to make sure I'm getting the coverage, but the primer potion definitely make sure that your shadows stay on all day. And I just use my finger and rub this all over my eyelid. Perfect. Okay. So next, I like to do my brows first to kind of give me like a frame to where my eyeshadow should go. So what I do is I use the Anastasia Brow Wiz in the color Blonde because my hair is blonde. Go figure. So they also have a brow definer, but the way this looks, it's got a spoolie on one end, and then it's got this twist up dome-shaped pencil side. So the way I do this is I comb out my brows first, but I'm going to look into a different mirror while I'm doing this, so I'm not like all up in your business. Also, one of the best tricks I can give to filling in your eyebrows is, you know, you're always like up close looking at them, making sure you're not like drawing on your eyelid, but just every couple seconds like step back and be like, okay, they're eyebrows, not bushes. That is the best thing to do. Okay, hey look, they're not twins, they're sisters. Okay, so after that, we're going to move on. Okay, next, it's time to move on to eyeshadow, which is personally my favorite part. So, palettes we're going to be using today is the Morphe 35W. It looks like this. And then we're going to be using the Kat Von D Shade and Light Eye Palette. It looks like this. And then it looks like this. Okay, first to start off, I'm going to take my Shade and Light palette, and we're going to be dipping into this shade, the one that I've almost already used. I pretty much use that shadow every day because it's just such a nice, and so well, and that it just makes it like it's a good shadow to start with. So what I do is I take it on my IT Cosmetics Precision Crease Brush, and it looks like this. So we're just gonna dip it in there, tap off, and I'm just gonna put it all over the lid, even like up here, all the way up to my eyebrow. I mean, you want like the majority of the product to be right here and in your crease, because I just feel like, yeah, I know we put down the primer to make sure things stick, but I find it's easier to blend out eyeshadows if there's already a little bit of shadow there. And I've always done this, and I've never had a problem with these shadows staying. So just take that all over. Alright, so next we're going to move into the Morphe palette. And we're going to start off, and we are going to take this shade and this shade right here, and we're just going to be mixing them. The best way to getting a blended look is to mix multiple eyeshadows. I mean, you don't want to mix like a hot pink and a purple and expect to get a brown, but the whole point to having a palette like this, where there's a lot of similar colors but they're just off by like one shade, is that you mix them together so you have more dimension. Or I don't know, maybe you're just really picky and you like to have a lot of shades of one color, but personally that's how I like to look at it. So next we're going to take our IT Cosmetics Flawless All Over Shadow Brush. So we're just going to take this and we're going to dip a little bit in here, A little bit in here, a little in here, a little in here, a little in here, a little in here. Tap it off, and then we're just going to little circular motions in our crease area. You don't have to be particularly precise where you're putting this. You're just trying to get the color to transition. Okay, right in that crease. And it gives off like a really warm brown. So we're just going to... You really want to make sure it gets all blended in there as well. You don't want to have patches that don't have color or do have color. It just wants to look like one smoke of bright red-brown. I don't know. So then next, we're going to take, where did I put it? Maybelline Color Tattoo Metal 24-Hour Eyeshadow in the color Barely Branded. It's just like a nice light gold cream eyeshadow. So the brush we're going to use to apply, you could use your, I'm going to use my fingers just to be on the safe side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it exactly like I did with our cream highlighter. I'm going to just take my finger and swirl it around in there. You just get some gold, and I'm going to put it right on my lid. You don't want to get too far into the crease color, but you definitely want to concentrate more where your lashes are. Dip into this gold shade right in the corner. It's a very light gold. It's not like gold like Chuck E. Cheese token gold, but it's like a light, like almost beige gold. So we're going to take okay, so the brush we're going to use to do this actually came in my Naked 2 palette, and it's this dual-ended brush. And it's got like this flat paddleboard brush on the side, and then this chiseled brush on the end, and we're going to use this paddle brush. And we're just going to dip that in to our gold shade, tap off the excess, and we're just going to put that right over the gold, just to intensify it a little bit more. I've never had the cream Maybelline shadow crease on me, but I don't like to take chances, so I always set it with another shadow on top, and I find that it makes the color pop just a little bit more. Perfect. Okay, so then next we're going to go back into the Shade Light palette. Honestly, you could find any other palette that has like all these neutral browns. That's all I use it for. Like, I use it interchangeably with all the other palettes I have, but it's just nice to come back and be like, oh, well, I need a light brown. So you come back and you take this light brown shade, which is what we're going to do next. We're going to be using the brush from the M139 brush from Morphe, and it's just like this. Well, okay, my eyelash curler's kind of like dented it a little bit, but it's just like this dome crease brush. So we're going to dip it into this light brown shade right here. And the thing with these shadows is you barely need anything, and it'll cover your whole eye. So just very lightly tap it in there. Tap off the excess, and we're going to put it right into the crease, more precisely and closer to the indent of the eye, and not so much like crazy all over the place. You also want to make sure that you get kind of right in the corner. You don't want to be like all over the gold, but just enough to where it transitions a little bit, because we're going to go back in and blend that anyway. Now we're going to take the same brush with the same brown from this palette, and just going to get a little bit more. And you're just going to flick it a little bit on the inside just so there's some transition there. You just flick it right into the gold. Not to like the center of the gold, but just at this last quarter of it. Deepen up that outer corner. So we're going to take another e.l.f. brush, and it doesn't have a name on it, but it's just like this flat eyeshadow brush. I'm sure you can get it at any Walmart or Target or Dollar General. And we're going to dip into this darker brown in the palette that's on this side. And again, just a little bit is all you need. Tap it off, and then you're going to just deepen up, making a V shape, a little bit in the crease and a little bit on the eye, just to add more dimension. I know it looks like a little much right now, but what I like to do is just to make sure I really get the color in there, because I find a lot of people that struggle with eyeshadows is that they barely take enough, and they're like, well, it doesn't look like the girl in the picture, and then I just have to say, well, the girl in the picture actually used the eyeshadow. So also another trick is that putting in eyeshadow, like not with a super heavy hand, but enough that you can see that it's there, and then blending it out will really give the effect that you want. So next we're going to take the Real Techniques 203 brush, and it's just a bigger round top brush, and I use this brush specifically just to blend everything out. So we're gonna go with that brown into our transitions. Don't put it so much in the gold because we want that color to be there, but just the other colors just to make sure it's all seamless. So next, almost done with the eyeshadow, we are going to take this Morphe 322 brush, and it's just a round top, shorter haired brush, and we're going to do this to do the underneath the eye. I know a lot of people are scared to do the whole underneath the eye look to, you don't want to look like a raccoon, but I feel like it really does just complete the look and make it look more like, it's not like just eyeshadow up here. It can kind of like blend with the rest of your face. So we're going to take that same lighter brown shade that we used in the crease, just take a little bit of that, and we're just going to run that into the underneath of the eye. You don't want to put it all the way on the inside corner, just on these outer 3/4, making sure most of the product is on the outside of the eye so you really have that winged eye effect. Now to highlight the eye, I know we already have some shimmer on the eye, so I don't want to go too crazy with the under eye highlight. So I'm going to go in with a TIGI shading brush, and it's like this flat angled brush. Yeah, I've never seen a brush ever like this. It's a pretty old brush, but it's perfect for underbrow highlighting. So I'm actually going to go into this yellow shade right here. And I know yellow sounds like a weird color to use for eyeshadow, but because I have blue eyes and blonde hair, I think it's the most beautiful highlight ever. So I'm just going to dip that right in there, just a little bit. I'm going to go right underneath the eyebrow. Perfect. For inner corner highlight, we're going to use this lightest shade in the Morphe palette all the way over here. It's not the gold we used, but it's just a lighter, not completely matte, but it's not shimmery. It's like a satin. And we are going to use the other side. This is another one of those dual-ended ones I got from the Naked palettes, and we're going to use the smallest end over here to do the inner corner highlight. just perfect. Okay, now on to eyeliner. I'm going to do a black winged liner, and I'm going to be using black liner is on. If you'd like to see a video of me of how I put on my winged liner, just let me know. We're going to fill in our waterline, and we're going to be using the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in the color Milk. It's white. Well, it was white. And what you do is how I do it. I just barely press on the bottom of my eye, and you rub it. Right into the waterline. This just makes your eyes look much bigger than they actually are, and I feel like it draws more attention to your eyes as well. Okay. Final step is that we're going to be putting on some mascara. Okay, I'm back. All I did off camera was I applied 2 coats of the Maybelline Lash Sensational Luscious Full Fan Effect mascara in the color some shade of black. Anyway, I can't tell if it's like blackest black or is it? I'm pretty sure it is blackest black, or it's just normal black. But anyway, I just applied 2 coats of this. Funny story about this mascara. I learned about this from like my friend that like doesn't wear makeup. This is the only thing she wears, but yes, she knew what the best mascara was. So you know who you are. Thank you very much, because this is like the best mascara at the drugstore by far. Alright, so now kind of like the main event for this makeup look, because I mean, to me the eyes are pretty on the natural side. I mean, it's not like you're wearing like full-blown blue eyeshadow, but the perfect pair for a summer sparkling look is a bright red lipstick. Now, I know nudes are usually like my thing, but for the occasion, I'm willing to spice it up a little bit. So before we get to the lipstick, I'm just going to outline my lips in, this is the NYX lip liner in mauve. So they are outlined, and I know it's a purple, I mean it's mauve, but I like to use a darker lip liner for, I mean I wouldn't use this with like a bright pink, but because this is red, I like to use the darker lip liner to really like keep it all like in my lips. Okay, so next we're going to take the color Shocking Coral by Maybelline. They have the best lipsticks at the drugstore. They're so creamy, they're long wearing, they stay where they need to stay, and this is what this one looks like. Like, I'd like these lipsticks better than my higher end ones, so that's saying something. Okay. Alright guys, this completes this summer sparkle makeup look, completed with lip and full face foundation. Really hope you guys liked my first video ever. I hope I can keep more coming if, you know, the demand is out there and everybody thought I did pretty okay. But I had a lot of fun doing it, and thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.